Good afternoon, everyone, on this January 25th. And I'm going to have Al, who's one of my co-hosts. There's two other co-hosts sitting in the back room yet. So Al Miller is from North Carolina. And Al, go ahead and take over.
Welcome to the World News Podcast with your host, James Fraher. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the host and or guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any affiliated organizations. The content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. Reliance on any information provided in this podcast is solely at your own risk. Guests are not affiliated with World Events Podcast. Host James Fraher, unless stated otherwise. Those under 18 should be accompanied by an adult.
Well, thank you, Al, on that. And welcome. Glad to have you on the show again with me.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna start bringing in the other people one by one. And the first one I'm going to bring in is Natasha Owens. Hello, Natasha Owens. Welcome. Nice to see you again.
Hey, guys, I can't hear you. I can see you.
You can't hear me. Can you hear me, Al?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We can hear you.
Test.
We can see you. And we can.
Maybe I should try it again. I can't hear you.
And we can hear you too. We hear, we see. I'm gonna try going out and coming back in. Go out, come back in. Go out and come back in. Well, while she's trying to get that figured out, I'm going to bring another one of my co-hosts, Rob Effler. Rob Effler is from North Carolina, and he has his own podcast show. Welcome aboard, Rob. And I'm going to bring up my last one, Jason Isaiah. He's going to be one of the co-hosts, and he is from New York. Great. Thanks a lot, Natasha. Nice seeing you again.
You want to hear me?
And yeah, we hear you, Jason. And nice again to see you, Natasha. This is the fourth time.
Can
you hear me?
Guys.
I can't hear him either.
Well, I don't know what anybody's not hearing. Can you hear me, Al?
I can. I hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you, Al.
Okay, Jason's good.
I can hear you, Al.
All right,
I can't hear Jim, though. Can you hear Jim?
Mm-hmm.
I can't hear Jim.
Yep. Hello, Brad. Can you hear us? He can hear everybody. Okay. Ray, welcome to the show. Can you hear everybody?
Perfect.
Okay.
I can't hear
Natasha, so real quick, since I don't know how much time you have, I know Ray's a little bit strict on time too. So a little bit about what you think what's going on in Minneapolis. And then I want you to mention your new song and we'll play it. Well, anyway, Natasha has a new song. I don't know what's going on here. And I'm going to play her new song. And I think you guys will like her.
Can you hear Natasha?
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. I can hear you. I don't think James can hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear her. I can hear her.
Yeah, I can
hear both of those, but
okay.
they can't hear me.
We can hear you now.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
Guess I'll go out and come back.
In Mogadishu, Minnesota, you might have heard there's quite a load of money missing, new millionaires, all the kids are leering in fake daycares. The Somali waltz, the Somali waltz, it's the same old song. The Somali waltz, it's sad but true, they're screwing you. Dance There's no fear of justice while they shimmy and they shake the Somali waltz. The Somali waltz. It's the same old song. The Somali waltz. It's sad but true. They're screwing you, dancing to the Somali waltz. The Somali waltz. The Somali waltz. It's the same old song, and it's going strong. It's sad but true. They're screwing you, dancing to the Somali waltz. And coming soon to a state near you, new name same tune, the Somali waltz.
Well, what's everybody think about that good song?
Molly Waltz. That was
I can't
fantastic.
hear anybody.
Nail on the head.
Well, go ahead.
Is anyone else from Minneapolis?
No, but Natasha's from Texas.
So just
Natasha? Yeah, you're the only one. We didn't mean to point it out for you, Brad.
Any of you
I
guys
love
hear
it.
me?
Wow.
Yes, Natasha, yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead and talk.
I can't hear
Yeah.
you.
We
He
can
said,
hear
"Go ahead
you.
and talk, Natasha."
Natasha, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Maybe I should
Just talk.
disconnect and try it again.
You can?
Yeah.
My mic is on.
Huh. Well, anyway,
It's on fire, man. Got a good beat. Talking about all the corruption going on that Mr. Kohler knows all about up there in Minnesota. I'm in Alabama and I know about it, so I know he's going to be able to talk about it extensively.
Ray, where are you from?
Can you guys hear me?
Illinois, Galesburg.
Okay, very good.
Can you hear me?
Jason, we hear you. I hear you, Jason.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear everybody perfectly fine.
Me too.
Okay, now I can.
all right, Natasha, welcome back.
Hello. Thank
Hey.
you. I've been here. I heard the video. I just couldn't hear anybody talking.
Well, Natasha, so real quick, tell us a little bit what your feelings or what's going on in Minnesota besides
doing,
the
Natasha?
Somalians. Okay.
Good.
Uh,
Well,
I
she's
can
been
hear
a show. She's been a guest on my show 3 times. Now it's her 4th time, and we've had some good conversations. We talked about Trump before. So, real quick, number 1, what made you do this song? And then number 2, what do you think about what's going on in Brad Kohler's territory?
well, the same answer for this song is the same answer for Trump one. My husband had the idea and he said, we need to do a song called the Somali Waltz. And I said, oh, I love the wordplay on that. However, this is going to be out of the news before we could even bring anything to market. And he said, well, let's just try. Let's see how fast we could do it. So it's the shortest song I've ever done at 2 minutes. It only took 2 weeks to do the song and the video. Quickest we've ever moved. And, I pick topics that are controversial, that have a little bit of truth in it. And when situations are so disgusting, like the 2020 election was, like this topic is, there's nothing you can do about it. You feel helpless. You want it to be acknowledged, talked about, and fixed. Only way I know to do it is to bring humor to it and put a light on truth and keep the discussion going. And it gives people so much hope and happiness to sing a song like this.
And you did excellent. I give you a thumbs up. Al, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Definitely.
Rob, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Awesome.
All right, I think
Thank y'all.
Ray,
Yeah, I love it.
Brad,
Excellent.
thumbs up.
Yeah, you know what? It is a cool song. But we're very embarrassed here in Minnesota, and
Well, we know that.
it is a bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a funny song. I would love to share it all over my social media. So if I could get a
Well-
copy of that, I will share the heck out of it. And I think that I'll probably have to get security because I'm.
I
But
bet so. I'm sorry about that. It's on YouTube. Just type in Somali Waltz, Natasha
Okay.
Owens, and you'll find it if they're not messing with me on that particular day. But I
Wow.
think that this is just a small portion of a bigger topic. I think this has been a smuggling operation for the Democratic Party. They've always rolled in the money. I mean, they ran circles around the Republicans in every state, in every district, with just endless amounts of money. And I think you're going to find it a problem all the way across the United States in every state. I think this is how they've been doing it.
Yeah, we've been paying for our own losses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so what do you think about now? Let's start out with Natasha, since it's her song, and it's about Minnesota. What do you think about what's going on right now with ICE and the recent ICE shooting that happened 2 days ago?
You know, any loss of life is horrible and it should not be celebrated. At the end of the day, if there's one thing that is in common with all of these shootings, there is a lack of disrespect for our law enforcement. There is a wanting to get on camera and being a celebrity, and downright ignoring the instructions that are given from these law officers. If they would just act like law-abiding citizens like we all do, they would all still be alive. And I pray for both sides, because I think that the media and the politicians are for sure gaslighting it. I think they're behind it. They want this thing to erupt. And we've got to set it's a raging fire that's going to continue to get so much worse, and you're going to have a lot of loss of life if we don't get a hold of it.
Right. And one more thing. I know we talked about it before, and since I know you know President Trump personally, you've been down to Mar-a-Lago many a times, you sang in front of him, everything else. Tell the people what Trump is really like and his heart is set at.
He has such a servant's heart, and there's such a humility about him. You saw a little bit of a glimpse after the Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attack, where he softened a little bit. He actually let his guard down and let you see the real Trump a little bit. The media, he's one of the most funniest human beings I've ever been in a room with. But he's taking out of context, because he has humor to a lot of things, and the media just runs with that. But he has such a servant's heart, such a tender heart. I've sang my pro-life song, and I've seen him bawl with just tears flowing down his face. He would do anything for you, and he would do anything for the American people. And I sat in a room right before he announced he was running again, and he said I could get out of the way, I could have my book deals and my presidential libraries. But he said, and they would leave me alone if I just sat down. But he said, I know that the only reason why they want to take away my freedom is because they're coming for yours, and I cannot leave you. And he had tears flowing down his face. He loves us, and he's misconstrued a lot. And I blame the media. There's no accountability for these politicians. There's no accountability for the media. They can just spew whatever lies. And these people who are fighting in the streets, I think a lot of them are paid, but I think some of them really do believe that he's the next Hitler, and that they are saving America. And that is because of the blatant lies that are going out there. There has to be accountability and consequences for what they're doing.
Exactly. Now, anybody else want to take a question?
But he's an amazing man.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to ask Natasha a question?
Oh, I can't hear you guys again.
Man, I want to say that about what she said in regards to the loss of life there in Minneapolis. I'm a believer that you get what you get based on your actions. So not necessarily saying that these individuals deserve to lose their lives, but they've put themselves in the position where now ICE agents are having to make a split-second decision of whether they want to live or whether they want to die. And like she said, these individuals have been emboldened by the Democratic Party to even be out there in the first place. They have put out this rhetoric that our president is a Nazi, he's Hitler, fascist. They've used every demeaning, negative word possible to sway the opinions of Americans, right? And so as a result, you have these individuals out there that are actively that really believe they are doing the right thing.
Jim, can you hear me?
That is a delusion.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, Ray. So, Mr. Kohler, who's running for governor, would you want to ask Natasha a question?
Yeah. So those actors in your video,
Yes.
very, very creative. I did one on my social media as well, like that. I have an AI director that did a similar thing for me, and it was really cool how that is. And I mean, he did a fantastic job. And I admire you. You got to talk to Donald Trump and meet with him. I have yet to do that. Even all my UFC buddies have met him, and I haven't met him. And so I was looking forward to seeing JD Vance here in town. I didn't get the invite. I get kind of pushed out of the GOP here in Minnesota as I'm the outsider. So trying to get the inside. I even sent Trump letters and an autographed knockout picture of mine and my copy of my book, and no response. So I've been trying to get an avenue to Donald Trump. And we have Mike Lindell, who's jumped in here recently too, who I don't like saying nothing bad about any of my opponents. He's a very unique character. But I think that regardless, one of my goals is to meet Donald Trump, so I'm a little jealous. So
I'm going to pray that happens. The team around him shield him, and it's so hard to get around that barrier sometimes.
I bet. Yeah. We had a little pray for him today. A couple of my GOP delegates that are actually on board with me, just praying for his safety because of all the stuff going on. And again, I guess I'll talk about Minneapolis later, but I'm jealous about that. So there you go.
I'm so sorry. One thing Trump does, he loves music. And he pays attention. And my music, for some reason, I think God's just given me some kind of favor. I'm one of the only artists that he shares. And he plays like Trump One on the Air Force One every day. I'm sure it's because of the media being on there and it kind of being a slap in the face. But I think that's the only reason why I've had a little bit of favor. We got to go to the White House Oval Office back in October to give him an award to The Chosen One, which was another Trump song that we did. So I'm just going to pray. I'm going to pray that God give you favor. We're having the same split of GOP here in Texas, and I think it's happening everywhere, where the conservatives are branching away from the rhinos. And it's really a two-party system, and the rhinos just aren't playing nice with the conservatives. We would like to play nice and be one big unified party. We just don't line up. At the end of the day, this is a spiritual warfare between good and evil.
Well, I'll tell you, I actually had a meeting with my campaign. I have 130 captains statewide in my campaign. We had a Zoom meeting the other night, and I really was considering going independent, but I just really want that Trump endorsement more than anything else. And it was just one of those things where the GOP here is such, they're cheaters here.
Yeah.
And in two of the
same as Illinois.
What's that?
Same as Illinois.
Yeah, and
Texas
caught them red-handed stealing ballots from the forum straw poll votes, and it's just very, very upsetting that you have to fight with your own party. And again, it's what Donald Trump had to do, and I'm gonna just admire him and get through it myself too. So it's very frustrating.
It's unbelievable. I feel your frustration because we're frustrated here. Our Governor Abbott, it came out just a couple weeks ago that we have a lawsuit going trying to get our primaries closed, because in our primaries, the Democrats will jump on board and vote with the rhino to try to keep the conservative out. And so we had a chance to get it reversed. Well, Abbott has put $1 million into a lawyer to fight that so that we continue to have open primaries. And I'm like, What are you guys doing?
Yeah, we have 11
Ray?
candidates.
Yeah. I kept losing you guys for a minute. I'm back. I
want to give Ray a shot
for a while.
Yeah.
Ray Estrada, he's well-known. He's well-knowledgeable when he talks about. He's originally from South America. He's been on my show a couple of times. We talked about Venezuela about 2 weeks ago, didn't we, Ray? And
yes.
Ray, do you have a question you want to ask Natasha?
Well, I want to say thank you for the songs that you guys, that you have been writing, Natasha. And I think you're right. I think it's God's favor. You hit a very important point, let's say. So thank you, and God bless you for that.
Thank you.
Earlier you guys were talking about these guys hating Trump, and that's why they're doing these protests. And what kept coming to my mind, it's bigger than Trump. What's going on right now, it's a legitimate Marxist movement against the United States. It's not, Trump, he's the guy right now in office, but you can have anybody there, and they are going to go ahead and do what they're doing now. If you pay attention to all the chants that you hear, they're all communists. This thing about, people divided and people united will never be defeated. That is so far to the left. That came from Chile back in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the problem, it's bigger than most people think. And regarding that guy, Freddy, that got shot, I was with the sheriff department in Galesburg and Knox County for 8 years. And a lot of law enforcement, they get judged. They say, well, he didn't pull out the gun, so why did the officer shoot him? Action is always faster than reaction. And you have literally a split second. When this guy came and engaged with the ICE officers, he was up to no good and he knew it. And this is just what happens. In so many encounters that you have, tragedy will happen. And unfortunately, that happened. And unfortunately, it's now going to be fueled by the left to further attack ICE.
Yep, unfortunately. And you're exactly right. It's sad, but we're going to talk about more in depth in that after all this. Woo. Rob, have you asked her your question yet?
All thing I've got to say is thank you, ma'am, for everything that you do and everything that you stand for. I appreciate you.
All right. What about Jason? You have a question you want to ask Natasha?
No question for Natasha. Just want to thank her for what she's done. I like the fact that she hit on this is a spiritual battle, good versus evil. That resonates with me because that's Bible talk. It definitely is a spiritual battle, good versus evil. I think Trump is doing the Lord's work, what God wants him to do. He's been the most pro-life president we've had. And I think Trump's doing a phenomenal job, as are you, Natasha. So I thank you for that song, and I hope that God continues to show you favor as well.
You're welcome. People don't understand. I get death threats. I get witches casting spells. I get atheists preaching to me. And it's just unbelievable, the spiritual battle that goes behind this. And music is powerful. It can penetrate where words can't. They will censor someone talking, but they won't censor someone singing a lot of times because it's the freedom of expression. But this is I agree that this is a bigger thing at play. You've got the World Economic Forum with the 2030 Great Reset. You've got George Soros and all these communists who are really trying to go to one world government. And Trump is the only one, in my opinion, that's keeping that at bay. And once he gets out of office, if the Democrats ever get in control again, we're going to head down that path very quickly, I think.
Well, let's pray to God that doesn't happen. And I agree with you about President Trump. He, I think it's by divine intervention that he got back in office, and the effects of his policies, domestic and foreign, I think it's giving freedom a chance. And God willing, if J.D. Vance gets elected later, he'll continue on the same path.
I sure hope so. I think it's the only thing that's holding it at bay. And
yes, I agree.
The award that we gave to him back in October was for The Chosen One. And that song was about an imperfect man being used by a perfect God. And, people wanted me to apologize for they thought I was calling him the Messiah. And I said, he's not. You have to understand he's the most pro-life, pro-Jewish, pro-Christian president of my lifetime, if not ever. And that is the work of Christ. And as imperfect as he can be, God is using him. And I don't understand any Christian that doesn't see what's happening and is on the side of the Democrats. I don't understand how that's even possible.
Unfortunately, that's, I think, in part a product of the education.
Education and
They
media.
they have totally drawn a gray area between what's right and wrong. Everything is relative. And I think that there are pseudo intellectuals that are indoctrinating our children in making them believe that complacency and submission is somehow being virtuous. And that's not the case. There's some things that you have to fight for, stand hard and strong. And sometimes, as a product of that, you will be criticized and attacked. And I thank God that Trump is strong and he is taking on all these attacks.
Well, if everybody don't mind, I can bring up that song real quick since
The Chosen One.
we have had that. Yeah, The Chosen One. Does anybody else want to hear the song?
That one caused so much chaos. We had 250 billion social media impressions, over 10,000 atheists quoting me scripture. This song, I have never taken a bloodbath to where the Republicans backed away from me, but we put it out 3 weeks before his assassination attempt. And when Butler happened, everybody was quoting this song. And so I was thankful that I got a little bit of a redemption, but I didn't apologize and I doubled down on it.
Good for you.
All right. Well, guess what? We're going to
You're
bring it up
blessed.
right now. Well, there it is.
I'm not saying he's something divine. He gets in trouble bigly time after time. He's controversial, but one thing is true. Imperfect people, a perfect God can use. I'm standing with the chosen one.
I am the chosen one.
Ain't no stopping what the Lord's begun. He's only human like you and me, just a chosen one.
Somebody had to do it.
Chosen one. This great nation is under attack, and its real leader has arrows in his back. So many greet him with a Judas kiss, but God gave us a warrior for such a time as this. I'm standing with the chosen one. Ain't no stopping what the Lord's begun. He's only human like you and me, just a chosen one, the chosen one. Brothers and sisters, lay down your stones. There's only one God and he's still on the throne. I'm standing with the chosen one. Ain't no stopping what the Lord's begun. He's only human like you and me, just a chosen one, the chosen one. He stands for me, he stands for you, he stands for freedom, he stands for truth. Trump is the chosen one.
Well, thank you, Natasha. And on a short notice, because I just got hold of you,
was
what,
fantastic.
2 days ago? Yes.
I'm going to reconnect.
Because I just reached out to Natasha Owens 2 mornings ago on Facebook Messenger, and she goes, "Heck yeah, I'd be glad to come on the show again." So, see if we can get her back on here. Up there she is.
So I guess that's why. I don't know. I keep losing volume. I can't hear you. But when I reconnect, I get you right back.
Well, at least you made it back. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for that. And on the short notice, because I just reached out to you, 2 mornings ago or 3 mornings ago on Facebook Messenger. And she goes, "Yeah, I'd be glad to come on." Look what we have now. We have a great crowd. We have great topics, and we're going to have more better topics here in just a little bit. So shall we go on to Minnesota now?
Let's do it.
One thing I want to show here is this. And let's see. Jason, take this one and read it.
Hey, Democrats, here is your due process signed into law by Slick Willie. Signed into law by President Bill Clinton on September 30th, 1996. The 1996 Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act allows deportation without a judicial hearing.
So,
Gotta be kidding me.
who wants to take that one on with immigration? Brad, maybe, or Ray. Ray, you. Ray,
I'm back.
well,
Same
You
thing.
wanna bring-
I lost the audio. I couldn't hear anything. So
yeah,
I
same as Natasha.
went out.
So
and
you want to
take
take that on about the immigration one, or that this here that we
I
just
missed it.
read?
what?
That's what it is. Signed into law. They don't need without a judicial hearing through expedited removal. Can you explain that?
Jim, I apologize. I missed most of the
I couldn't hear
question.
Just go ahead and explain on that right there how they can do without judicial hearing. It's just an expedited removal.
I have to put on my glasses to see that. Well, to my knowledge, I'm not an expert on that, but I think if the immigration laws were enforced, we wouldn't even be talking about this. So I wish I had more details for you on that. Whatever I got, part of the question that I got from you.
Okay, Brad, you want to pick up on that one?
Well, I think they pick and choose when they want to use laws and don't want to use laws, whether they're made or signed by their own side. And
Jeez.
right now,
can
I
hear
mean, if we had Harris and Walz as president, this wouldn't be an issue. What's going on right now, and that's what I believe. I think these between the media and the liberal agenda, they push the things that I'm sorry, these wackadoos believe. And as far as the conservatives go, it's our fault for being so lazy for years that we've allowed this to happen and not gotten out there and voting like we're pushing right now. And again, thank God for Donald Trump to get us all motivated to get back in there and save our country. But again, I think they use the laws as they see fit when they see fit. And it doesn't matter if the Clinton or Obama or whoever did it before. They ignore that and focus on the Republican Party is just evil and Donald Trump is the devil. And that's what they focus on. That's what they're being told. From what we see on liberal channels to what we see on conservative channels is a complete opposite. So the brainwashing by the media has a lot of problem with this. And I'm with Trump as far as pulling licenses for some of the ABC, NBC, and CBS. What they're pushing right now is just absolutely one-sided half-truths.
Yep. And then Ray, we touched again a while back on Venezuela. And tell them how the people were actually coming here. We heard in the news that Trump said they released them from their jails and prisons. Tell me what you know.
Okay. This was well planned out and well financed. And I think I mentioned to you before, I met with a former ambassador of Venezuela, and she was telling me about how they had pallets of cash and they were giving cash uh, to prisoners, people leaving the jail, and literally given like a pamphlet how to get across, some of the borders, where they were going to be meeting and stuff. And the number that they got here during the Biden administration, you'll hear people saying about 12 million. It's more like it's over 20 million that came here. But anyway, as far as the Venezuela, they did bring here, financed by the cartels. Tren de Aragua was well financed. They're organized crime. And there are also quite a few people from Iran that were operating in Venezuela, and they were also part of the intelligence network that were making this mass migration possible, unfortunately. Now, during the Biden administration also, and I also shared this with you when I met with representatives of the UN, they hadn't seen this. You know that my family heritage is from Europe, it's from Italy and Spain. We are having a horrible time right now, as you know, in Europe. In Spain, it's like 1 million Africans coming in every year into Spain. Italy, Meloni, thank God, she's pushing back really hard on this. But here in the United States, the calamity that happened during those 4 years, I think we still don't know to what extent it is. But it didn't happen by accident. It was well planned out. It was well financed.
And how do you think Mr. Brad Kohler got a bunch of these Somalians pushed into Minneapolis? And then, Brad, you can piggyback on that.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. It was, I think Obama had quite a bit to do with it. I think he was the mastermind behind that.
And Brad?
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, we had 80,000 dumped here, and I shouldn't say it like that, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way. But they've been in nothing but a strain on our system, and now, we have $12 billion in fraud, mostly from this one community. And I got to tell you, I blame our public officials as well. I mean, I say this many times in public that you can't tell me that this third world country came in here with people that have a IQ of 70 or less, according to Grok, and outsmarted our public officials unless they were in on it. So it's not, again, just this one community. It was a master plan that was done by somebody, who had a plan here. And, these checks don't get signed and written, easily. But we have 134 House members, 67 senators, congressmen, governor, and a lieutenant governor, and that nobody checked to see where this money was going, see if daycares were open, and so this community, I don't know if we want to call them the villains in this at all, but they sure are getting beat up by it, and that's where the money's been going. But I know, being part of the other communities, that there is money going other places too. They're just not as loud as the Somalian community and the money's not as high or as much money. So what needs to happen is we just got to shut down these nonprofits and NGOs. But the cause of this started with Obama in the 80s. Or say 1995. Right?
Now, the thing, look what's happened, what it has caused in Minnesota, people that have
Jim,
nothing to do.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. So the thing is,
okay, I can't hear you.
Okay.
My apologies. I have to go. Thank you again for having me on your show, Natasha. If you're listening, all I have to say to you is thank you. God bless you. What you have done, I think it wasn't done by accident. The same way that evil does its deed, I also believe that good, it also does its good deeds in many ways and uses different people for different tasks. I will leave you guys by saying that what's going on in Minneapolis. It's tragic, it's serious, and it's only a symptom of the real problem, which I believe it's communism coming here into the United States. I'll tell you that I've been here now for almost 50 years, and there is no greater nation on the face of the earth than the United States of America. And I believe that we have to do whatever is necessary to go ahead and protect this way of life, because we're not going to get it back if we lose it. So I hope you guys are listening to what I'm saying. I can't hear anything from you guys, but I just want to say God bless all of you and thank you, and good luck in Minnesota. My wife's family, her mom is from Minnesota. They're all Norwegians. And I'll tell you that I went there back in, I think, 1979, and once, and I went back about 3 years ago with my son. And it's like if I went to another country when I went to Minneapolis. It's a real shame. So hopefully things will get reversed in a good way. And don't be shy. And I noticed one of you said you didn't want to be to insult anyone. I think we need to stop being so sensitive about being sensitive. I think you have to call it for what it is. The fact is that these Somalians, as you know, the statistics, which numbers don't lie, most of them are getting money from the state, and it's quite unfair. Millions and billions of dollars. And I think it's, I mean, when I was running for Congress here, and I met with a lot of people, and people had to worry about paying their electric bill, and then you have people stealing millions and millions of dollars. It kind of makes you sick. But anyway, thank God for Trump. That's all I can say. Take care, guys. God bless.
God bless you too.
God bless.
Oh, wow. Pretty powerful there. And one thing we have to look at, is Somalian population. All these protesters, they're protesting for the people that are here illegally. They're taking money from us taxpayers. And do you think the Somalians or the other people that's here that's not assimilating will back those people up when they actually have issues? So why are these people siding with illegals, with criminals, unless they're getting paid for it, unless they're too darn naive? I almost cursed on that one, but anybody else? El, you're smiling pretty good on that one. Run with that one.
Man, I think it's orchestrated. I think that the Democrat Party is complicit in bringing these individuals into these cities for the sole reason of getting voters. They're trying to replace their voter base. That's what they're doing. So how do you get your new voter base? Well, you bring in these people illegally. You hook them up with all these sweet deals behind the scenes, line their pockets, making sure they're taken care of, making sure they're more well off than us Americans in America. So after that, now you have a new voter base, because guess what? "Quote unquote" black people don't vote anyway.
That's right.
Black people don't make or break any election, especially when we talk about on a state level, national level. Makes no difference. So we know that "quote unquote" white women are the biggest voter base. They're largely going to be liberal. So they've got to make sure that they're replacing certain voters. The white male vote is going more conservative. Black men are voting more conservative now, especially since Trump has run in 2016, 2020, 2024. Every time he got more black voters. So that's what it is. The Democrat Party there in Minneapolis has been horrible for quite some time. We just heard Mr. Estrada speaking about going there in 1979. It looked a certain way, right? It looked like a decent place. He goes there 3 years ago, looks like a whole new country.
That's right.
That's orchestrated. That is planned. That is designed. That's what it's supposed to do. Like they're doing in my memory, just like they're doing where Jason is doing, what Jason is in Buffalo, just like Houston, Texas, just like Dallas, Texas, all these other cities. Same thing.
They follow the same format.
Exactly,
really
Jason. Rob, I want you to bring up what we talked about earlier about a training place around Asheville, North Carolina, where you're from.
Yeah, I was sitting on the couch one morning, just running through Facebook like I usually do before I get everything going for the day. And I run across this little old thing they have. Everybody knows on Facebook. They have each county has a little community forum type thing. And this thing popped up on my Facebook. I was like, "There's no way." It said, "If you want to combat ICE, come and join us." Is either at a church or a building. I don't really recall. I had a phone call and my phone recycled and I lost it before I could screenshot it because I was going to show it to my sheriff. And it said, "If you want to combat ICE, we meet on such and such nights at such and such time." And I thought, we do not need that this close to home because Asheville is about 45 miles from where I live. We've had the No Kings protest and all these other. I'm just going to be blunt with it. Don't care whose feelings that I hurt. We've had all these other kind of confounded idiots coming in. It's not even in our community that has no really and truly right to be here other than to stir up trouble and create mayhem. So I go up to the courthouse to conduct some business later on in the day, and I run into one of my buddies who's the one of the high deputies. So we're standing there talking, and I'm bringing that to him. And he said, "Rob," he said, "I know." He said, "You used to be one of us. I'm a retired cop, by the way." He said, "What do you think we need to do about this?" And I said, "Brother," I said, "I'll tell you exactly what we need to do. We need to make the sheriff aware of this and have him contact the sheriff of Buncombe County and find out what's going on." I said, "We don't need this crap in Burnsville." I said, "We need to Barney Fife this right real quick." I said, "We need to nip this in the bud." I said, "We need to nip it quick."
Yes, exactly. And I don't know if I've heard it too. Maybe Brad has, or Jason or Natasha, about people that are getting paid to protest because it really amazes me after there's an incident. It could be that morning, that afternoon. There's already pre-printed signs all out in these protesters. So who is funding these stupid
It's on Google? Look it up.
brainwash.
Hire a crowd.
Right. Yep. Go ahead with that, Brad. Yes.
Yeah. You can Google it. You can hire a crowd. They'll give you a script. They'll get you transportation to give you professional signs to hold, and they'll show up in buses like they have been doing here quite a bit. I think that should be illegal. That is really enticing violence, and
it is.
And people have no idea why they're here. They just said, "Oh, I'm supposed to read this and hold up a sign," and they're causing trouble. I don't know who raises these people, but it's completely crazy. And
first of all, why isn't the government going after those sites and find out who's behind it and who's funding it? There's the issue. We have to find out the core issue. Who's funding these protests? Were the Soros, some NGOs, but the government has to know about it. They need to open it up. I know they have a lot on their plate right now, but it needs to be done before it stops and more people get killed.
I want to make it illegal here when I'm elected. I think that you'll spend 30 days in jail and you'll have $1,000 fine per day that you don't post bond after that. I mean, really make it like you pick it here. You do this stuff here. My new model is, I told you this before, you don't mess with Minnesota. We are going to take laws seriously again here. And as far as the the Somalian and things going, we've gone through a series of problems even prior to George Floyd. We were the ground zero for destructions of many cities due to our leadership here. Now, businesses were closed, people were killed, no accountability. Our leadership here is why things are going the way they are. Reaching out to ICE myself, saying that, I have the leaders of the minority communities with me on my campaign. We'd love to meet with you since our leaders refuse to have that voice of reason. We have families, they have families. what needs to happen here is leadership has to step up on both sides, but they're not. It's just so poor here. It's crazy. I mean, even the Republican Party here, there's not the grassroots one running, but the establishment, they don't care. They're on the take just as much as the Democrats are. And it makes me sick because people are dying. And this thing that happened yesterday with this Alex Predit, what is it? I mean,
right. The Alex, I know you're talking about. Yeah.
This stuff could have been avoided if we don't have leaders puffing out their chests, fighting each other. And that's what needs to stop. First and foremost, when Donald Trump signed the
Big Beautiful Bill.
No, to stop boys and women's sports. Okay.
Oh well, yeah, that's crazy too. It needs to stop.
When an executive order is signed by our commander in chief and our governor basically flips him off and puffs his chest out. I mean, you got to come some way to work with our government. Now look, our funding shut down here. There are people not getting stamps, unemployment. Why? Because our governor doesn't really care about the people. And until he's out of office, we can't fix this here because we have an attorney general that's right there with him. We have a county prosecutor. We have the state auditor. We have the mayor of Minneapolis. They're all cowards. And frankly, until they stop doing this, the people are in the middle caught and suffering. And that's the problem. The federal government is doing their job because you know why? Our government is not upholding the laws of the United States. And so the federal government's in here trying to uphold the laws for us. And the people of Minnesota are brainwashed because our leadership is saying, fight back. No, it's ridiculous.
Right. Now
it's a complete coup. It's a complete coup is what it is. And I'm on a several text chains with a lot of people in government, some senators, the drug czar. I received a text right before I came on here, and I've got to research it. But it's pointing the finger at the lieutenant governor of Minnesota, saying that she was the admin on one of the sites that was calling for these protests, organized training, and all of that. I think they're complicit. They want a civil war. And
you ever see the shirt she wears? It's a knife saying support trans. Defend trans with a knife.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, she's ridiculous.
That movement is very demonic, and this is a spiritual warfare when you really talk about it.
But Natasha, Republicans they won't listen to me. I'm not in office. I don't have that pull with the media, but we have Republicans that have that pull that are doing nothing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, here
That's
too.
what I have.
And I think when you see the list of people who either are blackmailed or whose pockets have been lined with our taxpayer money, you're going to see people from both sides of the aisle. There's very few that are actually fighting for the American people. I'm so upset at the Republican Party at this moment in time. And our DOJ, I think FBI is investigating, but Pam Bondi, I know her personally. I've always thought she was great. I did not think she was a good fit for this. And Trump has got to replace her in order to have anything happen, in my opinion.
5 years ago, I swear God told me to run for governor. I've never been in politics before. That song hit me home right here, because I felt I was chosen. I actually wrote a book called Built for This, about my journey from my childhood, why I'm running for governor, and why these God moments came to me. So believe me, that song hits home here, and I can't quit, regardless of what's going on here, how much they're trying to outmoney me, outpopularity me. And I do have a very large base here in Minnesota. And again, we've got to keep fighting. I tell you, I feel like Trump sometimes because I really resonate with him being a businessman and fighting the evil here, because it is both sides trying to beat me and they're both wrong. And I tell you what, my Christian moral values, I go to 7 churches a week, and I'm involved very heavily with the Black community, the Hmong community, the Hispanic community, the Lao, the Cambodian, the Vietnamese. I'm very invested with them, and they're behind me on this crusade that basically, they want to meet with ICE, but we're being blockaded to try to bring something to, again, a voice of reason to calm this down, but we're being blockaded by our elected officials.
Yeah, I think they are.
They don't want y'all to do that because now you're going to be impeding on what they have going on. They've got a good thing working on their side. They don't need you and the Laos and the Asians and everybody else that agree with you, that are backing you, to be talking out loud, going against all the Somali corruption and the threats against ICE and all that. They don't need that at all.
Exactly.
Even the liberals are behind me. I tell you what, I took Donald Trump's marketing plan and I've been running with it for 5 years. We're going to show up to this battle with a bigger army, just like he did.
Yep, it's going to take us, normal people like us, that has faith in us, and we have common sense and the Christian values. But the thing is, we may have to, I hate to say this, take up arms to protect ourselves. And I'm going to touch that in just a little bit, but I want to continue with this. I'm going to step closer to what happened in Minneapolis 2 mornings ago with the ICE officer shooting that person. This is
let's not
clip.
take up arms against our armed forces and police
Right.
officers.
Exactly, because they take an oath to defend against foreign and domestic. And right now,
what's going on? Shot, I'll pardon them.
But the thing is, what's happening with these riots when they get out of, or protesters get out of hand, it is domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
And this clip here is from Sheriff James Mendrick. He's running for the Illinois governor. Yeah. And he's the sheriff of DuPage County. And he's going to explain a little bit about why some people get caught up. They're not really who they're after. And this is why you hear people they weren't involved. Well, here's the reason. All right. And we'll get this played here. And here it comes.
Immigration officer, right? They hold up their hand, swear an oath to do their job. Their job is immigration. So now when they go and they find their rapist or murderer in an educational institution, in a house, in place of employment, whatever. Now I find him, but he's with 4 other people who are also here illegally, but haven't committed a crime. If they let those 4 go that are here illegally, but didn't commit a crime, they didn't enforce what they're paid to enforce. If any one of those 4 commits another crime or does something, they're on the hook for that, right? Now they're going to get blamed just like I would for the DUI or the domestic. That is their realm. They're immigration enforcement officers. That's their job. So you're forcing, and Pritzker's doing this on purpose. He wants the grandiose grandstanding of, look at the stage I'm on, the evil federal government coming to get the poor illegal immigrants that have done nothing wrong, and I'm protecting them. So please come more. I got lots more money to give you. Please come here, and I'm going to protect you from evil Donald Trump and the evil federal government, when Pritzker is the one causing the raids with this sanctuary state. He created the problem. He's like the guy who will start a fire and want credit for putting it out. Right. Pritzker caused the raids. He is the raids. He has to own this because he's making poor Tom Homan and these ICE people go into dangerous situations, get confronted with people going to their families' homes. This is disgusting. What a governor and that mayor Brandon Johnson, he's just as bad. They hate their police. They treat us like crap. That's the one thing that I relish in doing, is empowering the police and making them understand that we respect them for what they do again. Nobody in that government respects their police, and they're putting them, think about that. They're making these poor guys and girls on their job go into horribly dangerous environments because they won't give them access to a correctional facility.
Boy.
Any comments on that?
I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly how I feel is what's happening. If they would just let them come into the courts and into the jails, they could physically just get the criminals, which is what Donald Trump said that was what he was originally going to do. But if he comes across anybody that's here illegally, whether it's their families, innocent bystanders, whatever, they have to go as well. And they're causing this to happen where they're having to go up and get a 5-year-old child or get a family member. Yep. It's their fault.
Yep. Brad, anybody else want to piggyback on that comment from Sheriff Mendrick?
It's funny. That's what we talked about yesterday. That we'd like to talk to the ICE agents and ask if we could get the people to come in with their own dignity and respect. We'll let them stay. We're going to figure out a way to have them come back another day as a legal, citizen. But we're not. We've got to calm it down. We've got to reduce this hostility before it gets worse, because we're talking about the National Guard and insurrection and all these things that, man, Minneapolis used to be a beautiful town. I used to love going down there, and it's so dangerous anymore that we've got to do something, and nobody's trying to reduce the stress levels at all.
No, they're not. Not even the mayor or the governor of Minnesota, or the mayor of Minnesota, like he said, take up arms. So, I mean, when you tell your protesters to take up arms, you are inciting violence, and he needs to be actually charged right away with inciting violence. There should be no qualms about it. But the thing is, you have the Minnesota Attorney General that don't want to do anything. Like Brad said, they're in probably cahoots with each other. I mean, I can say it because I'm just a civilian. Brad, you maybe have a little bit different problem about it.
Well, you were right earlier when you guys said about this guy going down there with 2 clips and a gun to basically a potential riot situation that is supposed to be a peaceful protest. You don't go down to a peaceful protest carrying a gun, even if you are got a license to carry. That's just not. It's like having a gas can next to a fire, and eventually, what's going to happen? So, it's a shame what happened. Horrible situation, but again, through poor leadership and not de-escalating this is what happened. The blame is on our government here in Minnesota, not the ICE, not the protesters, on our government.
Well, it is on the government, and just like Illinois, Pritzker, any blue state that doesn't want to cooperate with right, it's any blue state. That's the issue, because you heard, just like Sheriff Midnick said. Now, one thing before we go on to the big thing, the church that got invaded 2 Sundays ago.
Yeah.
Who wants to run with that? Because I know what my feeling is, and I don't want to say a cuss word. So, Robert.
Well, I spoke with the leaders of the Black community on Wednesday. They are not supporting her. That was wrong. So, as far as what they did and what she provoked, she's being hung out to dry by her own community on that.
Well, what about Don Lemon? He knew about what was going to go on because he had a recording before they went in. And but again, I heard the Minnesota lawyers, the Attorney General, is refusing to pick up on it. Why? They'll pick up on her.
The judge let them they let him out of jail, didn't they?
Yeah.
The judge. Yeah. You're going to see it happen to more and more churches because of that.
Until they go to the wrong church and that church reacts in the correct manner. And then it won't happen again.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. It won't happen in a black church. I'll tell you what, they won't put up with it.
Really?
Black churches
will not. Here's the thing. They're not going to go to the black church because the black church already agrees with them for the most part anyway. I grew up in the community. I know most of these black preachers, they're on that side anyway. They want to go to the white churches because they're going to be able to spit in the face of white people in America and tell them that it's a new day, basically. They want to bring a new America. That's what they want to do. That's why they chose the church that they went to. And the issue is the church they went to, they probably didn't see it coming. So I get that. But you can't.
The pastor there was a leader of he's one of the captains of the ICE. So he was
he was a target, but does that matter? What happens if you're just a regular police officer enforcing the law? It has no difference if you're a part of ICE or regular law enforcement. I mean, people give it up. He's doing his job. He's trying to protect the community just like a regular police officer does. And in other words, pack it up their ass.
Well, you know what they say. If you didn't realize you're an idiot when you're young, you're still an idiot. Well, there you have it with these people. Okay, they were provoking it. They wanted to cause a scene. They wanted to get in the limelight, and they accomplished that. And I just think that it's going to escalate if we don't get a voice of reason in there doing some negotiating.
It is. I'm going to bring up this slide right here, and it's about the church. It's right here.
Okay.
Yes, entering a church uninvited to protest is generally illegal and violates federal laws like the FACE Act, which is Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance and other. It's real small. The FACE Act, it's a violation of federal law, prohibits using force, threats, or physical obstruction to interfere with someone exercising religious freedom as a place of worship in making destructive prohibits illegal. So in other words, they could have protested in the sidewalk. They could have protested across the other side of the street, but the church is private property. Keep your asses out and stay on the public property. I tell you, I've seen videos where a guy had a drone. He was by a mosque. He was going to fly it up and over the top. The mosque security says you can't do that. That's private property. But yet these stupid liberals that want to defend the criminals think of it's different. I'm sorry. I'm starting to get riled up now.
They don't respect law, man. They don't respect law. They don't respect decency, morality. They don't respect any of that, man.
Well, you know why?
They want to do. And
you know why?
As long as they're allowed to do it, they're going to do it.
Thank you. We're not upholding it.
That's right.
And that comes from leadership upholding the law. And then when you trickles down from the governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, state auditor, mayor, county prosecutor, I mean, you had a carjacking with a gun charge? Well, let's drop the gun charge and let's shout on a signature bond. How are we upholding the laws when that's going on every day here in Minneapolis? Now, I'm sure Chicago sounds pretty bad too, but I mean, here we are in a blue state, and it's a fight.
Let me ask you this. I heard today that the Minnesota House filed impeachment charges against Governor Walz. Do you think that they will achieve that? Does it have to go to your Senate as well? Probably not.
I don't think it's going to have any teeth. I think it's all show and no go. And this has been going on. The fraud for that Leering Center, that was never spelled correctly since 2018. Okay. Again, there's no accountability, and all of a sudden, whoever grasps that limelight right now and does something, there are still people that are afraid to rock the boat because they're getting paid. They don't want to get unelected. So to get elected here as a Republican is pretty tough.
Yeah, about like Illinois.
Yeah, and so I think the Republicans here, they're kind of like the DEI of politics. they're underqualified, but they're the only ones that'll run. Okay.
Yep.
And that's what happened. That's when we had all these DEI government people, that's how the fraud happened, basically, because no one knew what to do. They didn't know how to find it. When they saw it, they didn't know what to do with it, and they covered it up.
I'm going to bring up another video. This is from the Illinois Gun Owners Lobby Day that I attended down in Springfield in May of 2025. It's by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman on the cops in the summer of rage. Well, this happened before the ICE went into LA, where they had all the riots and the protests. Now we're still in this summer of rage. So listen to what this Lieutenant Colonel says. Listen carefully, because he pinned it, but we're well past summer and we still have the rage. There we go.
So, folks, what we're looking at here, Heather McDonald, I mentioned her earlier. She wrote a book called The War on Cops. That's what it is, a flat-out war on cops. But Heather doesn't have the Minneapolis effect. She'll update her book The book I commend your attention, I wrote the foreword to the book, is called Blue Lies, The War on Justice. It's a flat-out war on justice. It is eating away at the fabric of our civilization. But there's hope. Now, folks, the number of dead cops ought to be going down. The media stopped throwing the fuel on the fire with this evil cop business, but it's still there. It's still simmering away. Now, since the Officer Down Memorial website's been keeping data, January and March of this year are tied for the lowest number of cops murdered in those months. February set a new record for the lowest number of cops murdered in February. Leadership matters. And our president has helped to turn the tide on this, but it hasn't gone away. And now the media is telling us that the president is Hitler, and everybody that voted for him is a Nazi. I just showed you this kind of language has repercussions. This kind of sick language in the media has repercussions. Thousands of people murdered, hundreds of thousands of people assaulted and scarred and maimed. This sick narrative in the media. And I pray that I'm wrong, but many people say we're facing a summer of rage. We're already at that baseline level. It's not going away. We haven't even begun to recover to pre-Minneapolis, let alone pre-Ferguson. That baseline is there, this baseline hatred and distrust of cops. And now we got the summer of rage on top of that and the terrorist attack that is going to come in the middle of all of that. Our cops are maxed out, recruiting is down, retention is down. But this is what the Second Amendment was intended for. Our founding fathers knew times like this. They knew horrible attacks. They knew tragic times on the frontier when the only thing that kept you alive was a loaded musket and the skill and the will to use it, you understand? To fight for your family, to fight for your way of life, to fight for your nation.
And you didn't put it to that.
Powerful.
It gives
Right
me
on
tears
point.
when I hear it.
And explained it right there. It's the war on morality, the war on law, the war against law. That's what it is. That's what we are.
What we're looking at here.
Yeah, I tear up when I hear that every time because I was there and heard it. You know.
And he's right.
Yeah.
The baseline is there. Where I live in Montgomery, Alabama, folks don't, it's Montgomery, so a lot of people don't really know, but we have per capita one of the most violent cities in America. Our baseline has gone up, just like there in Minneapolis, just like in Chicago, any other place. The baseline for violence and lawlessness is at a new level. So whereas 10 years ago, what we're looking at right now would be, crazy high. Now this is the new normal. So that's how cities like Chicago and DC, they want to say, oh, crime is actually down since 2 years ago. But if you look back 5 years ago, crime wasn't anywhere near this high.
Well, it's because they're not prosecuting.
The guy just got done saying.
Yeah. Yep.
It really hurts my soul to see where this country's going to. Not only with all the violence going on, all the protesting, all the anti-this, anti-that, and then you see what's happening in other countries. It tears me apart, and I'm just trying to do my best to what I do here on this types of podcast to wake people up and say, hey, you got to believe in something good, God, whatever, because the devil is knocking on the door and the devil is knocking hard.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, somebody.
Absolutely. Wow.
Well, sorry about that, but it hurts. Let's go on to this.
Everybody should be hurt, though. Everybody in America should be looking at what's going on and what's been going on and feel the same way. You should be be hurt, sad, upset. If you're not that way, then you're probably part of the problem.
I'm going to now go into just what happened 2 days ago with the ICE officer shooting. I have a couple of videos that I'm going to show. The first one, and when I first saw this video, what picked me up was a guy coming from the left side of the video entering. He gets into the mingo with the ICE agents trying to get the guy under control. You see him reaching in with his right arm. And what I saw in fast motion, regular motion, would appear to be a gun. Then you see him come up towards a red car. You can see the thing in his hand, and he sort of bends down and goes in between two vehicles. Let me bring this up, and it's sort of a wrong button there. My eyes got some water in them. Oh, wow. Pretty, wow. Okay. So this is the video right here. This is the normal speed.
Too much, man, and they keep pushing people, you know?
Watch the guy in the center with the gray jacket.
Oh shit! What the fuck? They killed him? Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
So, you see that video? What, Natasha, what's your first impression of the video?
Well, from that angle, that was the first video that I saw a couple days ago, and I thought, my God, there's so many guys on that one guy, and it kind of was deceiving. But when you look at the other angles, we know now he had a gun. It looked like a gun in his hands, and it's a split-second decision. The officer, you have to react, or you're going to lose your own life. But at the end of the day, that officer should have never been put into that position. That guy should have listened, should have obeyed and respected authority, and he wouldn't be in the position and the shape that he is. He would still be alive today. So I blame the lawlessness.
Yep. Brad, now since you're running for governor of Minnesota, what is the law about going to an event like that with a gun? Now, I don't know if he was registered or not, whether he had concealed or carry or not. I haven't found that out for sure. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, he had concealed carry, but and again, he's on the streets, he's in the public property, so he was legal to carry, but they thought he drew his gun. Now, I've heard a couple stories, and I usually kind of stay quiet until I find out the facts, but the man had a loaded weapon with him with 2 clips. And why would you go to, this with 2 clips? I don't know. But, now that he's dead, we'll really never know what his thought process was of going there with not just a loaded gun, but an extra clip. The 6 ICE agents on one man, I don't know. I mean, with heavy coats like that, you can't really stun gun people. So, and just by training with police officers myself, as a former UFC fighter and training with law enforcement, they try to go easy to not hurt you at first, rather than just going in there, thump the crap out of you and get control. They try to subdue you without trying to be too forceful. And I think, what happened there was, these guys are just trying to subdue a guy. He would not comply. And I'm sorry, but, you create negative attention, you get negative response. I mean, what can I say?
Yep. Lawrence, he's in one of the groups I'm in. And tell us a little bit about you, Lawrence, and what you've seen so far and what your input is.
Well, thank you, everybody. And I really enjoyed hearing some of the comments. The one comment about Mr. Pillow, I agree. He's not a real candidate. He should really stick one of his pillows in his mouth and move on, because he's really put, President Trump in an embarrassing situation over and over and over. But getting back to Natasha, you're doing such phenomenal for the true MAGA, for the true patriots. And I am a true patriot. I was the spokesman for MAGA on January 6th. I showed up on January 6th at 10 a.m. And they expected some redneck to be, one of the people who talk to the media. They didn't expect a Chicago election expert to be there as an independent. So I was able to stand up to the mainstream media and call out what really happened when I exposed the wrongdoings of 2019. I alerted the FBI to the ground game, what was going to happen. And they basically, painted me as a domestic terrorist, as a seditious conspirator, because I was exposing the DC deep state. And they opened up a full investigation on me in 2017 when I alerted them about a gentleman that was a FALN member. A lot of you men on this call are old enough to know what the FALN was. It was a terrorism group that infiltrated the government, that were the true Senate when they got into the Senate, and insurrectionists, and shot several senators. And being from Chicago, I exposed them. And in 1998, in fact, on the chat, did you guys see the chat? Did you see the chat? I put
saw
one of the articles.
I didn't have it open all the time, but go ahead.
So I shared one of the articles of the hundreds I have of my accomplishments of exposing massive federal fraud in Chicago. And the gentleman in 2017 that was let out of prison by Barack Obama, which President Obama had the authority to do it, he gave him a pardon. And I alerted the FBI to him and his brother of what they're doing since like the mid 90s with federal fraud. And instead of protecting me as a whistleblower, they actually spun it that I was a massive problem with the government. So my January 6th indictment, they had about me in 2017, and they mentioned me about 2019 in a negative light. And then some of the extreme far right, they took that as a Bible, and they started passing the word around that I was a bad dude, instead of realizing that I'm a superb leader for the MAGA party, for the Patriots, and a man that stood up for Donald Trump before 2016. So yes, we all have to unite, and everybody has to be an extreme far right person to help Donald Trump, because the Hispanics, they were conservative Democrats, and now everybody's talking about getting rid of every Hispanic, every immigrant. I don't think that's right. But President Trump had the right attitude: go after all the illegals that are violent and everyone that came in the last 5 years, because 90% of them are no good. They have a bad intention. But anybody that's been here more than 5 years, if they have the commitment to come and they're good for America, we got to figure out a way to help them. But as of right now, I'm fighting my case. I am standing up for everybody on this call, because I am suing the government, the United States of America, and 4 individuals. I have a strong case. I am committed to move forward on this, and I have spent every penny of my retirement fund. I fought for 4 years in a criminal case because they wanted me to be found guilty, or me to take a plea agreement, because I'm an independent. They needed somebody that wasn't a Republican. And I explained to them that I am legit. I didn't do a crime on that day. I was lawfully waved into the rotunda, and I never went beyond the rotunda. While
Now,
I was in the
Lawrence, I want to piggyback on that real quick. You said about illegals who's been here so many years, 5, 7 years. I don't know how many people do not know this, but before Trump, it was in, I think, what year, 2020 or 2019, the Democrat Party had 2 bills about that type of thing, to where illegals, if they've been here for 5 to 7 years, no problems at all, to work with them and try to make them come back in the system legally. But guess what? It was never taken up for a vote. So another thing, did the Democrats plan this and they want all this chaos to happen? Because look at what Biden did. I mean, open up the borders, and you can do things and not get in trouble. Now, so you were at J6, right?
I was, as I said, I was the first person to arrive on January 6th. Because
Okay,
on January,
tell me how the atmosphere was. I don't know how close you were to the barricades. I know somebody that was up by the barricades. Tell me how the atmosphere was and what caused people to go over the barricades.
well, let me step back a few. As I said, I was one of the first to arrive there, and I spoke to the national media, Wall Street Journal, NPR. I could go on and on and on. Yes, I was probably the first on the barricade, because on January 5th, a couple of producers and a cameraman approached me and basically said, "Hey, word is, you're from Chicago, you have election expertise, and you're a pretty good-looking guy. We could really use you in a documentary." I did not realize that I was being set up, because those guys were part of the FBI, trying to get people to be there and hype them up to have a problem. I was on the east side, directly in front of the Columbus door, and correct, when some of the guys were leaping over the barricades, I was waved by. They opened the barricade in front of me, and the reason why my Chicago radar went out is because the area where I was standing, the barricades were not locked together like they should be. So they told me that there's got to be a reason why. So I thought that would be the safest place to be. And the Capitol police officers, when the cameraman basically asked me to show more drama, because they wanted to get a better picture of me, saying USA, USA, USA. And that lone friend, that instant, they used that bogus evidence for seditious conspiracy. 14 months ago, I was looking at 25 years in the penitentiary for bogus evidence. And I thought I lost months and months of sleep, because they were coming after me, trying to make me damage my. I was out on pre-trial release. They even came to a birthday party of mine, a private birthday party of mine, where they got to one of my customers and clients and realized I had a party. And 2 FBI agents snuck in and tried to see if I would be drinking, because part of my release was I was not able to drink in public. That's how petty they were going after me. And I had my head on a radar, because for 2.5 years, it was cruel what they were doing to me, to bust me, to psychologically break me, to almost commit suicide, to get a guilty out of me. But
sounds like Cash Kelly, who was also there.
I don't know. I don't know who else was there or whatever. I was law-abiding, I was peaceful, but I witnessed lawlessness. I witnessed brutal police officers that I end up with psychological problems because they didn't give us warnings about flashbangs, and they let off a flashbang in the hallway area outside of the Columbus dorm, the landing, and it shook me to the point that I ended up throwing up. So, I mean, I'm being a little cautious here because, as I said, my civil rights case is starting to move forward successfully, and I don't want anybody to take anything out of context. But I know there were a lot of people there. I know there were a few hundred that made mega embarrassment. I know there's 33 that got a pardon for President Trump, and then they went back and did another crime.
Lawrence, you're breaking up quite a bit, so I mean it's a lot of trying to. You're in and out a lot. So one question I want to ask,
Jim, I've got to jump off. I just wanted to thank you for having me on. I've had a blast today. Thank you, guys.
I want to thank you for coming on short notice, Natasha.
Anytime I can do it. I'm available.
Yeah, well, you liked our. I hope you liked our show. I liked the other three before.
I did. Thank you so much for having me.
Natasha,
I can share this with you. Share this with other people. Have them look at this YouTube video of the show.
Yeah, and the thing that can really help the song is to buy it on iTunes. Right now, it's in the top 7 of country charts. We want to get it to number 1, and buying it on iTunes is about the only way to do it. You can Spotify it, but there's 350 streams to 1 buy equals 1 buy on iTunes. So help me get it to number 1 in the next day or 2. I would greatly appreciate it.
Well, everybody on here, share that information. Let's get Natasha up to number 1 on. And Brad, you got a real good place out there. So put the pitch in for Natasha.
Yeah, I'm going live at 6 on TikTok. I'll make the announcement on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
So much.
And then thank you, Natasha. And I really hope to meet you someday. I know you live in Texas. I live in Illinois, but who never knows. And I did send a letter to the White House to Trump, but they haven't answered. Remember I told you that? They haven't answered me back yet because Trump really needs to look at Mindrick for governor. He really does.
He sure does.
So go ahead and keep in touch, Natasha.
Okay,
I love your song. Thank you, Natasha. Have a good night. God bless you.
Yeah, James, I got to cut out too, buddy. So
okay. Wow.
Hey, thank you so much.
Did you enjoy it, Brad?
It was great. I'm glad you invited me. I appreciate it a lot. And anytime you can, if I'm available, I'd love to jump on your show again. I really appreciate your time.
You want to see this last video I have, the slow motion one?
Yeah.
You have time to see that? Okay, let me bring that up. That's not what I need to hit. Let me hit the other button. And this is the slow motion. Yep. Let me get it up here. Slow motion. There we go.
Let's break down this Alex Preddy shooting, shall we? This is some footage from it, and we have that officer that's right in the middle there with his hand on Preddy's gun. Okay, so he is trying to take control of the gun after they see it. Now we have the officer to the left. He is going to apparently see that gun, and he is going to reach for his gun. Now we're going to take a look at that center officer again, who's now off to the right a bit. This is where the firearm is just about to clear the holster, and that officer is taking it out of the holster himself, and then he leaves the immediate area. Now the second officer there, this is right before he takes the first shots. So we're going to let this play through a little bit, and this is where Preddy is actively being shot. Now we're going to take a look. This is from another angle, and that is that officer who we see taking Preddy's gun from his waistband, and the photo on the right is a photo of the gun that officials had released that they said belonged to Preddy. So we're going to see that same officer get the gun. He has it in his hand. He's moving away. And then that is when those other when the initial shots are fired from the other officer and possibly another officer as well.
Now, Brad, real quick on that. Why do you think he took the gun and moved himself from the area?
Maybe the officer that shot him thought he was grabbing it. I don't know. It's just the whole thing looks a little. Okay, now he's unarmed. Why was he shot? I don't know. I mean, just trying to, from what I see right there.
Right. Exactly.
I'd like to see all the evidence before, I make a complete, statement on something like that. But if it's going by that video, on this video only, he was disarmed. The gun was taken from the area. He's on his knees with 4 or 5 cops in the process of subduing him. Shot was fired. Cops all move away at one time, and then more shots are fired while he's on the ground. I don't understand why that had to happen or why it did happen, and I don't see a threat to the officers at that point.
Yeah, it could have been just because there was only like 2 seconds after you saw the guy move his arm away, and maybe they yelled gun, and that's when they yelled gun, and that's when he got out of there and boom, boom, boom. I mean, because your mind's going so fast.
We had a similar case here a couple of years ago with Officer Kim Potter, who thought she was grabbing the taser and grabbed a gun. Things happen for these officers very fast in a threatening way, and not knowing what they were going through at the moment, not being there or physically doing that. Again, as a fighter, you just, sorry, I didn't mean to gouge his eye. I mean, things happen. Okay. But you're in a fight and you're on the street in a fight. And
what was your quickest knockout time?
Well, it wasn't, my greatest knockout is the UFC 22 in 1999. Still one of the greatest knockouts in UFC history. But, in this situation, I see that, I grew up in Cleveland. A street fight's a street fight. And if you subdue yourself to a street fight, I mean, you don't show up to a gunfight when you got an army there loaded for bear. Okay. I mean, it was just bad. The whole thing's bad. It's like, who do you blame? Well, again, I said it earlier, a negative, intentions will being a negative response. He confronted police officers. He put himself in that position. And then when it all unraveled and cops see a gun, again, tensions are high. Cop was hit by a car. Cop got his finger bit off. Tensions are high right now. They have to protect themselves. I would still side with the police officer at this point, 100%. I just think it's a very unfortunate situation.
It is all the way around. Well, Brad, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll keep in touch. Get Natasha's song, try to get her up to #1.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and let you go. The rest of us, we can stay on here, but Al, take charge for a little bit. Good night, Brad. God bless you, my man.
Hey, Mr. Kohler. Fight a good fighter for a minute.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Brett. Al, take over for a little bit. I need to use the restroom.
Good deal.
You got the floor.
All right. Hey, so Rob, Lawrence, I think the video, man, I feel like we need to wait until the evidence comes out on this. Just watching that video, I'm going to side with ICE on it just because the guy is actively resisting. If he wasn't actively resisting, he wouldn't have got shot. But it's a bang bang situation. You got 5, 6 ICE agents surrounding him, it's hard to see what's what and everything with that many people on an individual. And there was another individual there as well. They got sprayed prior to the whole shooting. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think about that?
I believe, from Chicago, I love, law enforcement. I take a lot of crap for being pro-blue in Chicago, where majority of the people can't stand law enforcement. But this one here, at the end of the day, that, the officers that did the shooting will be found, not guilty, but they're going to go through some tough, investigation, because, like you said, I agree. The video, sends a negative, serious negative, towards the.
That's right. Rob,
Well,
what you got?
my opinion on the whole situation, it's sad any way you look at it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and glorify any of it. I'm just going to cut and dry, call it like I see it. For one, yes, the dude did have a constitutional right to carry his firearm. Number two, the ignorant thing that he did was take it to a protest, him knowing full well that it was a violent situation before he got there. He's not stupid. He saw everything on TV, in the newspapers, yet he chose to do that anyways. Okay, when a law enforcement agent, whether it be ICE officer, highway patrolman, town cop, or a county mountie, either one, looks at you and says, stop, turn around, and whatever orders they give you, it is your duty to comply. If you continue going forward and acting like an idiot, you're going to be treated as an idiot. Bottom line, I don't care who you are. And this guy evidently put himself in the idiot status because he was resisting arrest, refusing to comply, took 6 of them to take him down. It escalated into something other that it should not have escalated into. In my opinion, being a retired law enforcement officer, you wind up in every situation of, after it's all over said and done, of what if? Well, everybody knows the definition of if. If Frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his butt as he goes down the road. Now, if you don't want to get in a situation that's going to put you either in more danger than what you're already in the first place, or put you in a situation where, like my grandma always said, the groundhogs will bring you your mail, don't be stupid. Don't put yourself in that situation. If a law enforcement officer tells you to comply with whatever, smartest thing to do is shut your mouth, act like a civilized human being, act like a grown up, instead of acting like somebody that's entitled, because nobody's entitled to anything on this planet. The only thing in the world that you're entitled to do is act like a civilized adult, act like your mama and your daddy raised you a little bit, learn some sense. Don't act like a complete teetotal idiot, because if you act like an idiot, you're going to get treated like one.
That's right. And there's no such thing as side of the road justice, right? Or side of the road courthouse. You don't go against the police or ICE or your local PD, your county, or anybody on the side of the road or on the sidewalk or in the street. You're not going to win in that moment. It's just not going to happen. One of a couple things going to happen. You're going to get arrested and go to jail, whereas you still fight, go back and complain and do whatever you want to do after that point. Or you can deal with it, rationally, and probably not get arrested, going about your business. Or you can wrestle and fight and run and spit and everything else, and then you get hands put on you, you get a baton to you, get maced, you get tased, you get shot. There's the only options. So
You're right. In other words, don't wind up being a FAFO award winner.
There you go. First place, gold medal.
Exactly. That's not a good prize to win.
That's right. And
well,
guys,
don't you
I don't think it's slowing down either. I think we have more of these coming up that way. Sadly,
don't you think part of this issue with people think they're entitled to things is because the 4 years we had with Biden and the 8 years we had with Obama, because nobody was held to accountability. It's like the no cash bail. I mean, do something, they arrest you, they let you out with no cash to put up. And now, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but in Illinois, the reason they said that because a lot of black people don't have the money to bail themselves out, and so
I'm not black
this is
anyway, Jim.
Do what?
I'm not black anyway. They don't even exist, man. That ain't nothing but a crayon color.
I know, but that's how they were putting it in Illinois.
No, absolutely. They did it in Louisville too. Remember with the lady that got shot, with the drug dealer guy. Remember they came, did the warrant. They did the no knock warrant. They knocked. The guy came to the door, ended up shooting the officers. They shot back at him and hit her. Remember that whole situation?
Barely, but yes.
They got arrested, riots and all that. They got let out of jail because of this fund. These Democrat people were funding their bails and letting them back out to keep the protests, keep the riots going. They do this stuff in every city, every state.
Just like the George Floyd riots, Kamala Harris had something to do with helping people get out of jail during the Minneapolis riots, Minnesota. So Minnesota's been in the hot seat for a while. I'm going to go back real quick to Lawrence, since you were at J6 that day. Now, it has came out there were, about 270 FBI implants into the crowd. But what really caused the people to go over the barricades? I heard, and it was pretty peaceful. Yeah, they were singing and all that until rubber bullets and tear gas came flying from the Capitol steps sides. Is that correct?
If we had about 3 hours, we could really, get down to the, nitty gritty without getting into the weeds. Friends, I was on the east side. I was on the Columbus door side. So what I think you're talking about is the west side. I was not there. I don't know what really happened there. But all I know on the east side, the police were acting like criminals. They were shooting off flashbangs without warnings. So that's going to come out in my case because I am suing the Capitol Police. I'm suing some individuals from the Capitol Police. So yes, that will come out. Beyond, you keep talking about the barricades, but I am talking about beyond the barricades. I'm talking about on the stairs near the east side Columbus door, where a lot of the wrongdoing went. But there were some protesters that were extreme groups, old keepers and Proud Boys, that the police, I have pictures, the police opened the barricades. So they didn't even have to jump over them. Like what you're saying.
So that was a little bit different in the east side than the west side where the Capitol steps are at. Because I heard, some of the Capitol Police were waving them in and stuff like that. So, but what about that officer that came behind the door? You could see him at the window, shot dead that one lady, and he's never been prosecuted. Just shot her dead right there. What about him? What about the poor lady's life?
That is a great point because it was crickets. Nobody held that guy accountable. They're going after these ICE agents for the talk about assassination. And the reality is, when this guy assassinated Ashley Babbitt, a 4'10" tiny woman that was crawling through a little, window unarmed, and he shot her right in the neck. Well, I am a miracle survivor from Chicago, being targeted, being shot point blank in the face, and a bullet going through my neck. If it wasn't for a trained medic that saw it happen, that set me up, opened my airway, I wouldn't be here right now speaking with you. So
Wow.
I am an amazing survivor because she never had to open up an airway in the battlefield until she was in Chicago and saw what happened to me. They got to that Christian lady, and PTSD is a real thing. And I had long-term PTSD. I was doing very well with my PTSD until January 6th. I was on the front line by the Columbus doors, coming out of the rotunda, when an eyewitness came running to me, friends, and said, "You look like you got influence. We need you to come in because a lady just got shot in cold blood and nobody's helping her." And moments before that, I witnessed a sting in real action. I witnessed an FBI informant taking direction from an FBI agent in real time. I then noticed a hiding HBO cameraman hiding underneath a black sheet in the rotunda, filming with a massive Hollywood camera, not a little, camera that some of the photographers use, but one of these big ones that they use for, Hollywood filming. I went up to him, I lifted up the sheet, and it was one of the guys that told me that there was going to be a documentary for election. He didn't tell me that it was going to be a documentary to catch good people on January 6th being antagonized to do wrong. So they set me up with my USA because I have a passion for election integrity. And I told the media that I am not walking away until we see national voter ID.
Right.
But, but James, a lot of your points you're bringing up, we got to be fair because if it was the far left that was, jumping over barricades and, when police gave warnings to leave, they didn't. I never received a warning. I was lawfully waved in to the location. I was lawfully.
Well, you're right. You have the extreme right, you have the extreme left. If I was there, I would not even went up the Capitol steps. Not at all.
You are so correct. And then you know what? You have the extreme right and extreme left, and it's like a horseshoe. It's a horseshoe where they come together when it comes to things like this. And we're talking about probably some good ICE officers that are going to lose, a lot of their income because they were involved with that shooting. At the end, they may be found guilty, but until that end, those videos, raise a lot of negative questions. And
there's a lot of videos that they never have even shown,
Correct.
But I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. If you see the ticker down below, and you talked about PTSD, this group here, they're from Chillicothe, Illinois. They're Freedom Paws service dogs. They get dogs given to them. They train them. Then you care for them too while they're in the training. Then they give them to somebody who is either a first responder or a veteran with PTSD for free.
Oh, amazing. So
take this that website down, the Freedom Paws Service Dogs. Take that, write it down, or I can Facebook message you it also, and get the word spread out there because it is a good organization. I think they're in like 7 states. I know the people personally. They're just like 2.5 miles down the road where they have their local office at. And the only way they get funds is from donations, or they set up, events and they go there and sell their T-shirts or whatever for the Freedom Paws service dogs. So it's a very good organization. And, let's start. Al? No, let's go with Rob. Rob, any last comments?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Man,
Okay.
I just think, man, we just I hope the people that are watching this understand that we're heading down a bad road that's going to get way worse if we continue to allow our politicians who want to do nothing but use us for their own personal power and growth and wealth and control. If we allow them to continue dividing us, we're going to continue seeing cities like Minneapolis fall apart, Chicago, Memphis, so on and so forth. It's not any specific region. It's not any specific coast. It's all over the country. It's the same thing. We've been talking about it over and over about spiritual battle, good versus evil. That's what it comes down to.
Well, the worst of it, I just hope it don't turn out into civil war. And, look at, like I said, look what's happened to Great Britain, England, France, some of the best cities in the world. They're run over by the Islamic Brotherhood, and it's just tearing the country apart. And the Islamic Brotherhood, part of their idea is to tear down the United States from within. And when you have a big Muslim Islam population anywhere, then what they do, they vote, they get local people office, and it's now proven you got them in higher governmental offices all the way to Congress. And that is their plan, is to take over America from within. Lawrence, any closing statement?
I would love to come back and be part of your, co-host, because I have a lot of stories over 30 years that I could, go deep on with the Minnesota, fraud, because I believe the person that actually led them, taught them how to do it, came from Chicago. So, yes, and then by then I'll be able to update you on the civil rights case against the government. I'm suing them for $37.9 million, and I hope I win for everybody. Get the truth out for January 6th, because they can't call me that I was violent. They can't call me an extremist. They will not stick.
No, yeah, it's just like Cash Kelly, who was there, and he spent 3 years in the DC jail, and the way they retreated was just it was sad how they retreated in the DC jail. They retreated worse than rapists, murders, and everything else. They were shot flashbangs in the rooms in the middle of the night, and you'd have to listen to his story. I've talked to him a couple times. I met him and had talked to him at a political event. So anyway, I'm going to close this down, gentlemen. And I want to say, my name is James Freher from Illinois. I'm your host of World Events. Al Milliner was grateful to come in as one of my co-hosts, and also Rob Effler. Al Milliner also has his own talk show, and Rob Effler, he's with the North Carolina Investigates. They talk about UFOs, Bigfoot, and aliens. And Rob, tell people where they can find you at.
You can find me on Facebook, or you can find me on TikTok at NCI North Carolina Investigates, or on Instagram at nci.rob. And if you want to get a hold of me by email, nci.rge@gmail.com.
And are you guys on YouTube yet?
Yes, we are. We're live every Tuesday.
Where?
Every Tuesday and Thursday nights at 7 p.m. on YouTube at NCI North Carolina Investigates.
Great. And Al, you have your own talk show podcast. Tell them where they can find you at.
Yes, sir. So I host the Captain's Quarter Show. I host that on Facebook, YouTube. If you look me up, type in L Milliner, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I'll pop straight up. I do that. I'm giving y'all my straightforward, honest commentary on news, politics, and hot topics. And we're about to get started with Jason Isaiah and myself with a new type of show called The Agitators. Gonna be very fun. We are about to get started with that very soon. So I appreciate you inviting me to come back, Jim. As always,
we'll do it again.
Great time, man.
We'll do it again.
And
Lawrence, how can people find you?
Yeah, appreciate you, Jim. Appreciate you asking. My email is lawrence@ligas.pro. LAWRENCE@LIGAS.PRO. And I'm on Facebook as Lawrence J. Ligas, LIGAS.
Yeah, if anybody needs his Facebook information like that, I have it too, because we're in a couple of political groups together. And Lawrence, please spread this word out about this video that people can watch on YouTube, because it's going to be up. It's not going away, and we're going to have one again. And like you said, we'll get you back on the show, get El back on here, and even Rob, and we'll hash it out about J6, because there's a lot of shit that needs to be brought out about J6.
Yes, there was a lot of lawlessness going on by some of the federal agencies.
And the FBI was involved and everything else. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for this group of people that joined me today to make this podcast what it is. We want to tell you, we don't want to lead you astray. You know, if we're not sure of something that's a fact, we're not going to say it. We can speculate, we can use our opinions, and that's what you need to do. You need to think for yourselves besides thinking and listening to the mainstream media, because they're going to turn it the way they want to turn it. And then you're just going to be like a little sheep led to slaughter. You're not well informed. What you read on Facebook is not always true. Do your research. Use Google. Look at it. That's what I do, because that way, if I'm going to say something, I'm going to be factual about it, and I'm not going to BS or bullshit you on the issues. I'm going to give it the way it is. If you don't like it, jump in the water. Because if we do not get this country back in order, we're going to be like Great Britain and Germany and Paris, France, going down the tubes, because they're getting overrun by Islam and Muslims, everything else, and they're taking over the country. Wake up, America. And other than that, I want to say good night, thank you, and God bless you all, and God bless the United States.